Let's talk about the Tentamort. Welcome to my channel. I focus on tabletop role-playing games, video games, and science fiction. The Tentamort is described in the Fiend Folio on page 86. So, what's interesting is notice here it says Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This is before it was known as First Edition. So the Tentamort was never a terribly popular creature. However, its basis goes back to Tolkien. And Tolkien, if you've read Lord of the Rings, or in the first one, it's the Fellowship of the Ring, where they come up to the entrance to the Mines of Moria and they're trying to figure out the password, which is friend in Elvish, or friend, to enter the Mines of Moria. Outside the mines, outside the entrance, is a large pool, and in the pool is what is only called as a tentacle. That's the only thing that Tolkien ever defined. He never defined it anymore, that there were just some tentacles that were there. So I was thinking today, what's an interesting discussion to talk about? And so you have tentacles. That's where they came from, was Tolkien. Was that the idea was you wanted some sort of creature that with the large tentacle that could go out and grab things and pull it in, sort of like the squid that you saw in 20,000 Leagues to the Sea, if you've ever seen the original Walt Disney, or the Kraken or something like that, with the large tentacles that came in and do that. But it also brings up an interesting discussion, which is possibly not safe for work, but it's the question of hentai, or that's hentai it often refers to that, or it's tentacle hentai is the proper term, which gets a little bit strange. It's the Japanese fetish, shall we say, and graphic novels. For those of you who are unaware, what happened was Japan had some very strict censorship laws about what you could and could not draw in, or what you could put in movies and things like that. They couldn't create anything that was the equivalent of X-rated, that showed full frontal nudity. Well, actually, it's more genital specific. You couldn't see they could actually draw the female genitals, but they couldn't show penetration by the male genitals. So what happened is someone came up with the interesting concept, which got past the censors, which was and it's based upon some old wood carvings or artwork in Japan of a octopus and a woman. Yes. So this is the tentacle porn. So it brings up the question, if you're going to put this into your campaign, if you put the Tentamort, which is basically, it's a creature which is mainly tentacles, sort of like the sea anemone or whatever, that does have a mouth or something like that, but it's the bulk of its body is the tentacle or tentacles, that rather than attacking to harm directly, it attacks to have sexual intercourse with, shall we say, trying to figure out the appropriate term, because it wants to penetrate, but in an unusual way, or in a sexual way, and not in a way to harm. But this opens up some interesting possibilities with your characters if you're willing to go this way. And I have no problem with this. I've said I've had characters who have been raped. I have had, yes, an entire party has been kidnapped and raped. And so things like that. And so if you're into adult type themes, you could introduce being sexually molested by tentacles. So I gotta ask the question: is it just my strange sense of perversion where I would think that this would be something unusual and interesting to add to your adventure because they would be uh, it would definitely be a memorable adventure, I think, to have them that it's not trying to directly harm you per se. It's trying to have it's wants to be extremely friendly, shall we say, with all your characters. So am I, I have no idea where the comments are going to go on this one. Probably some people are going to say, how dare I talk about something like this? And I'm sure there are people who are so a little bit who will have to go run and hide in their safe space with the thoughts of some of this. But the other one is that have you had, shall we say, amorous adventures with other things in your parties, in your campaigns with the party, and have you had things like the Tentacle in there? Have you ever used the Tentamort? I understand. I don't own Pathfinder. I have never played Pathfinder because I've mentioned before, I stick with Dungeons and Dragons because it's a bit more popular, and it's one of my arguments for the type of game I play is it's trying to find other people. And if you're with the one that's the most popular, it's easier to find players than it is. That's just my viewpoint. I'm not slamming Pathfinder. I just never got around to buying it or anything like that. So, but when I did some research on this, the Tentamort may have been in at least some documentations in Pathfinder. It was only in the Fiend Folio in Dungeons and Dragons that I can find references to. If I'm wrong, please tell me about that. But and I found, I put a link in the description. Somebody had else who was interested in the Tentamort had actually converted it to 5th edition. So if you're interested in using the Tentamort as a more traditional monster. But then have you ever played in a campaign with a Tentamort? Have you ever played in a campaign with a Tentamort that has other things on its mind? I guess it has a mind. What's more? Anyway, you start to understand some of those questions. I'd like to hear your stories. Give me some information in the comments below. Thank you for watching my video. I look forward to learning what you think about this video. Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate all your comments. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down. I appreciate both forms of feedback. If you're new here and would like to subscribe, you can click on the icon on the left. If you're interested, there's more content on the right.